Go live. We should be live. After that, like, hour preamble before stream. And hey, that's a perfect notice if you guys wanted to hear that pre-stream conversation like Space did, since Space is in the Discord, then you, audience at home, can join the Discord. So I'll post the link and pin it and do all that stuff in the chat and everywhere else. So definitely join, and then you get to hear us talk off stream for all the off stream conversations we had. It was a juicy one, it was spicy, very controversial, some would say, but you'll never know because you weren't there. But maybe the FOMO's kicking in enough to where you'll be there next time. All right.
That was beautifully said.
No, it was.
Philosophical, even, you might say.
Ooh. Well, with that being said, tonight we're covering Boruto TBV Chapter 19 is bad. And with that being the title, of course, naturally, we're gonna start with Naruto. So, Kamui, what first topic did you have in mind?
Wait, okay, so may I ask why we're definitively starting with Naruto?
Well, solely for the bit of I think it's funny that we never cover our title at the beginning of stream, and so we're just going to start with Naruto instead of Boruto.
Okay. Well,
plus, I'm down to talk moderate. You're doing that moderate, right?
That's what you're talking about. Let's go with the most out of the realm, just random one.
God.
Actually, that reminds me. At some point, we got to rewrite the Koksu versus Naruto fight. I feel like I care more about this than you, but that's okay.
Probably,
arguably my least favorite. It's arguably my most disappointed fight in the series.
I didn't really care for this arc, even if it's good. It's just not one of my favorites, but it is pretty good.
Well, maybe it would have been more of your favorite if that fight was better.
That's fair. I don't think it would have been because I wasn't really caring that much in the first place. I still was. It just wasn't any better to me than like the previous two arcs, for example. Yeah, I thought the previous two arcs, in fact, were better. I thought of the first three arcs, this was the weakest of it, which is hilarious to say. Like, I think it is good writing-wise. I just personally, I was the least invested in this arc.
I think it starts off the weakest, arguably, because up until the Hidan versus Asuma fight, nothing crazy. It's just setup, and it's not like the craziest setup. But
yeah,
I think it's probably it's debatable. It's so when it comes to like the Mangekyo analysis example, it's not part of the series. It's just it's an analysis thing that's really cool that I don't want to lose because I definitely think it's Kishimoto's intent. It's one of the coolest. It's something really cool that he does. It's not part of the in-universe. Like, it's not in-universe ever explained that like,
no, I get it, but
so
I feel
for example,
like you're like overstating
to make a contrast. Hunter x Hunter, net abilities are specifically written that way. Like, it's a manifestation of like your personality and all that jazz. Curse techniques in JJK, similar idea. Not the case for Naruto Jutsu. Not the case for Mangekyo abilities. Even if writing-wise that is the case, it's not in universe the case. In contrast to Hunter x Hunter net abilities.
But I feel like you're just like lumping it in with things that are like obvious analysis that aren't directly expressed in the series or like implied, which at that point like, you're just saying anything is as cool as this. So for me, there's no substance to this. It's at best a cool Easter egg. It's like I don't gain anything from it.
It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's cool, I guess, but like, it's the series isn't better for me because of it.
Yeah, I disagree. I think it's better because of it. I think it's pretty impactful symbolism, personally.
But I feel like it's also so generic that you could have said it about anyone and it works just as well, pretty much.
Nah, it's much more there in an impactful way, at least with the Mangekyo and a lot of the Rinnegan abilities, not just any random jutsu. No, that's not to say there aren't other jutsu that do this, but like the average jutsu's not doing this.
I mean, I disagree. If there's anyone in particular that you think stands out above the
substitution
rest,
jutsu. What's that? What's that one's symbolism? The substitution jutsu,
what?
or the shuriken shadow cone jutsu, or the roof tile shuriken jutsu. Can you give me some of that symbolism? You don't mind?
It doesn't have symbolism.
Hence my point.
Yeah.
It's not all jutsu doing it.
Well, I don't know what you mean by hints your point. That was never my point.
You were saying that you can do that for any random jutsu.
No,
no.
no. I was saying
Mangekyo.
the things that people do for the Mangekyo, you can apply to any Mangekyo user.
Yeah, that's the point. It's only the Mangekyo users.
No, Kamui, you don't understand what I'm saying. You don't understand what I'm saying. What people say for like why Kamui works so well for Obito's character, you could just say the same thing about Sasuke or Madara or whoever else. Freaking Shisui.
No, you can't say why Kamui would work for them, but you could say why Amaterasu works well for Sasuke, why Limbo works for Madara, why Kamui works for Obito.
See, that's just you disagreeing.
But you can't say why Kamui works for.
With my point is that I disagree with that. I think you can.
Okay, you just be wrong.
Well, the analysis is so general and vague that you could just say it broadly for anyone, or you could just analyze it in a different way.
Okay, I can't speak on behalf of other people, but at least in terms of what I want to say in videos about it, which I never finished doing because I stopped immediately after the first one, but eventually going to return to, wouldn't make sense with other characters. At least what I had in mind to say.
See, but I feel like it just bolsters your idea of these characters in the first place, which is why you like it, or it's how you got to your idea of the characters. It would just be interwoven at that point.
No, it's just a cool add-on that just adds to the. I think symbolism's great. I like it. The vase in Boruto with Kawaki is adding to the story, like
yes,
in a cool
I agree.
way. I think Kamui's doing symbol. No, it's not in the story in the same most obvious, in-your-face, clear intent way as the vase for Kawaki, but it's the same concept. It's just a lot more subtle, which is funny because Jonathan Oliver would argue that Boruto's much more deeper, whatever. No, that's actually the surface layer comparison. You have to dig deeper for Kamui.
Well, first of all, you also think that this just is Kishimoto's intent. I don't know if it is, and I'm not confident in saying that it is
because I think it is because he does a lot of this type of thing in general. First of all, the fact that it just is so specifically well working with all the Mangekyo abusers with their specific abilities, at least in my analysis of it, it just feels like that's too much of a coincidence.
Kamui, to be fair, first of all, when he made the ability of Kamui and gave it to Goofy Toby, do you think he had Obito's entire story narratively entirely written out for him to create this ability in this exact way in the first place?
I think a lot of it, yes, because I think he had Obito as Toby from the get-go.
Sure.
I think he already just had Toby being Obito. And at that point, he already knows Obito's character to a pretty good extent. So
I would disagree with that second part. I don't think, even if he has him as Obito, if he knows he's Obito, I don't think he has Obito, the adult Obito, I don't think he has him written at all yet.
I think he's got a good amount in mind, at least.
But also, he's introduced extremely early on.
But again, he's not using Kamui. The earliest you can say for Kamui is when Sasuke slashes through him in the Datara fight.
Sure.
And even then, that's so vague. He's not really using Kamui until Sasuke versus Itachi.
That's the first explicit use, as well as Whack-A-Mole Jutsu. I would say the technical first use of Kishimoto writing it, he doesn't even know what it is yet. He's just giving Obito something. However, Obito got the ring.
That's a fair one. But even that, I don't really know how. It depends on. I guess he just phased through. But even then, I feel like
Kishimoto didn't know what he was giving Obito yet. He was just giving him something, and we don't even
know if Obito used Kamui to get the ring anyway, because it fell through a crack. Obito can't grab the ring without making his hand solid. His hand can't fit in that crack. So I don't know how he got the ring.
Yeah. But I don't think Kishimoto had it as planned out as you are thinking he did, especially if he's doing this week to week for years.
But I'm talking about by the time he's really using Kamui, the Whack-A-Mole Jutsu and stuff, versus in the Itachi pursuit arc when they're Sasuke's fighting Itachi. Like at that point, that's pretty far into the story. I think he's got a good idea on Obito.
It's still before Itachi does. It's like less than halfway.
I know, but he's still. I think he's got a good idea of Obito by that point.
I don't know. Like, even if he has the idea of the war arc written out, I don't know if he's even conceptualized Infinite Tsukiyomi yet.
I mean, I can't say there. No, okay, so this is going to be a funny thing to mention because we were talking about how this isn't an ideal way to do things, but this is still possible, like I mentioned to Ultra, and you can get away with it. It's also possible, you're going to laugh, it's also possible that Kishimoto wrote some of Obito's character around Kamui. So where he already made the jutsu, and then he wrote Obito's character to match the jutsu. That is possible.
It's possible. It's not that I wouldn't like it. If anything, I would find it cool in the sense that it's funny, just like from a writing standpoint. I think that's good, but it's both good and bad.
Yeah, exactly.
But so okay, personally, you've already expressed that you're going to disagree with this anyways. I'll just tell you what I genuinely believe. What I think is most likely when he devised the idea for Obito to be exactly what he is, I think it's when, like during, like in the present moment, not before when he had the idea to do it, but when he's actually doing the idea of writing Kakashi's death in the Pain arc. I think when he's writing that, he's like, ooh, actually, now that I'm seeing Obito on the paper here, I could actually do something with this. Let me bring Kakashi back to life, actually. Yeah, I'll do that at the end of the arc.
No, I don't think so. He had already written Kakashi Obito stuff way before that made Kakashi Gaiden. And then he's got Obito, opposite eye looking at Kakashi and the Itachi Pursuit arc and stuff. So I don't know.
I don't think that's all that crazy for sure.
I mean, we just don't know. Unless we can get him on the podcast to confirm.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you what I think. I think that's at least most likely from my perspective. But again, like, if you have specific analysis that I've just never heard before, then sure. But like, just for example, this isn't exactly what people say, but like the general idea of, oh, Amaterasu, it's narratively significant because Sasuke just wants to see the world burn. You could say that about Obito, Madara,
okay, so
freaking
Nagato.
Anyway.
Sasuke's is a lot more just like easy, superficial. It's not that deep.
But then you can still do the same thing for everyone else. Limbo. Oh, Madara wants to do it all on his own. That's the same thing about Sasuke's revolution. That's what Obito wanted to do.
That's not my Madara thing.
What's your Madara thing?
What you just said. I personally, I think Kakashi, I'm gonna lump him in with Obito. Kakashi, Obito, and Madara's are the best two. Up next is probably Itachi, then I guess Sasuke's is the most just like, okay, that's easy, whatever.
Exactly. That's my argument, though.
Hatred.
That's exactly what I'm looking at it from the perspective.
Sasuke's is the least to it. He's only got one ability too.
There you go.
Basically, it's just fire. Yeah. It's fire and fire control.
And especially the flame control. That's like, at that point, that is such a reach, even more than Amaterasu. It's like, oh yeah, Sasuke just wanted to control situation or whatever. It's like, yeah, bro.
It's just, okay. See, I don't like Sasuke's very much. Like, it's worth doing the video, but it's like, that's my least favorite by far. Yeah. It's the most you didn't even try kind of one.
But then it's the same with Kamui for me. It's like, oh, Obito just wants to hide away from the world. I feel like you'd say that about freaking Madara or Sasuke.
No, I mean, like I said, I don't really want to get into it because
either.
I want to say it as beautifully as I can, and I have to go back and see what I wrote, and if I didn't write anything in the end, then I just go through and just rethink my words. But
if you have specific analysis I've never heard before that I actually like for it being specific and unique, and it can only work for those characters, and that it feels like it was intentional, then I will completely agree. As of right now, the arguments that other people have presented, and I haven't heard your version, the argument that other people have presented hasn't convinced me. It's not strong enough.
And you know what? I probably would agree with you. If I heard their arguments, I'd probably be saying, oh, that's boring. That's just how I think at least.
Right. So yeah, Obito wanted to hide away from the world. Like, come on,
I feel like I have nicer things to say about it, but
that's fair. I think that was where we had our contention. Is that that was a misunderstanding on that part. Didn't know that was a thing.
But to be fair, though, you might be waiting a few years by the time I actually get around. It depends on whether I just quit doing Boruto videos. Otherwise, you're waiting a while.
Sure. Now, to be fair, regardless of what your Madara one is, we probably will just disagree. But like the others, maybe.
I don't think you'll disagree with my Madara one.
Okay. I'll have to see what it is.
But that's besides the point. Anyway, well, we talked. Okay, we can get into Hidan and Kaksu now. Even though I have a perfect
Madara segue, but okay, Hidan Kaksu. Just go back and forth.
Okay, Madara segue, I guess.
No, because Kamui, the problem is, it's true. If we segue to Madara, we're not segueing away from Madara. So we're segueing to that last. We're doing Hidan and Kaksu now. Because especially Hidan and Kakuzu, because you already know, even before I said it, I want to segue away from Hidan and Kakuzu. I don't want to spend time talking about them. Especially when I have a Madara to look forward to.
Sure.
Okay. So I will say, before even saying this first sentence, I want you to go in with an open mind. You've already read this, so you already know what this is anyways. If it at this point, this bit is just for the audience. So before you immediately disagree, just let me say the whole thing, and then again, go into it with an open mind, because I'm thinking about this from like a writing standpoint and making every character unique. And so I'll explain what I mean after I say this first sentence. So, should Kishimoto have even done the immortal duo at all? What I'm referencing there is Hidan and Kakuzu. So I don't mean the characters, because I think Hidan and Kakuzu as characters of the Akatsuki who have an arc with Shikamaru, etc., I think that all works. I'm specifically referring to the dynamic between them, because every Akatsuki duo has a dynamic. The community just names them the immortal duo for obvious reasons, and I do think this does have obvious and a little bit less obvious narrative tie-ins that we can get to of why they should be the immortal duo. It doesn't actually have to do with immortality. It has to do with death, but we can get to that afterwards.
I mean, the only other argument, which you might just say is like silly, stupid, don't even mention it, would be about like the Will of Fire next generation stuff in comparison to the immortality thing.
Exactly. But even also, that would go along with like the idea of life and death, of like a cycle, being born and dying. Like, what's the opposite of death? It's being born. So, like that's what they're going for.
Yeah, that aspect. But continue. I'm going to say right off the bat, I did read your thing. I'm not going to vehemently disagree because there are certain aspects that you're already getting into, both good and bad with it. So
that's what I was hoping for.
I'm going to be able to just like kind of agree both on the good and bad aspects of what you're saying.
Okay, yeah. Because even I don't necessarily think this should 100% be the case, because I do think they should be the immortal duo. But again, so the idea here is the reason I say this could possibly be a thing that he could just change is considering he already has Sasori as a foil to Deidara. What would be the narrative significant dynamic to give to Hidan and Kakuzu? So what arguments do you have for it? So the reason I mentioned Sasori and Deidara is obvious. It's the difference between their art. One of them loves art in the moment. Art is an explosion. That's Deidara. And then, obviously, on the disagreeing side of that, we have Sasori, who believes in eternal art. He wants to be immortal, immortalize his art, and that's the only way art can be true, is if it's forever.
Eternal beauty, and then real quick, just getting into Sasori himself, he has we don't, there's going to be a problem with this, but because we don't really know how his heart aspect, like, is that immortal too? Probably not, but his body itself, it just regenerates. You blow it up, it's just going to regenerate. It's kind of like Edo Tensei in that sense. So it has one weakness, but it's kind of like Kakuzu's 5 hearts, to where it's just like, you're just going to stab him in the heart kind of thing. Like, he can be killed, but like, there's an aspect of immortality to him already there. And what's also important to note there is Sasori was meant to have important connections with Orochimaru. What's Orochimaru's whole thing? Mortality. Granted, they don't do a whole lot with Sasori and Orochimaru at the end of the day, which as a side note, let me just write this in rewrites. Should they have done more with Sasori and Orochimaru? But that's a separate topic anyway. But like that connection's also there. So you got Sasori versus Deidara, and then you have Sasori versus Orochimaru. Sasori being the middleman with the immortality stuff. Since immortality is already there, and like for example, Itachi and Kisame, Pain and Konan, they're not doing immortality like things. It's not like every pair is doing an immortality thing. With that in mind, should there be something completely different for Hidan and Kakuzu? That's your premise, more or less.
Yes. So, and I do want to say, for anyone that has this as an idea in their head to counter this, well, why are you doing it this way instead of the other way? Why not leave Hidan and Kakuzu as they are and instead change Sasori and Deidara? Well, the first argument that I'm not even going to use, so I'm just going to throw it out before I even say it, is the fact that Sasori and Deidara came first. So just change what came later instead of first. So it just makes more sense in my opinion. But again, I'm not even going to use that. The real reason is because, and Kamui, you might disagree with this, but I think when it comes to Sasori and Deidara compared to Kakuzu and Hidan, I think that Sasori and Deidara's thing about immortality or art or whatever, it doesn't have as much to do with like relevance for the plot. In fact, I would say it's almost entirely irrelevant to the plot outside of Sasori's backstory, but even for Deidara, it's just entirely irrelevant in my opinion. It just has to do with this explosion arsenal, if you want to say that. As opposed to Hidan and Kakuzu, where that's not just their entire literal arsenal in terms of their moveset, like that's like the point of their characters entirely to an extent. But I feel like for Sasori and Deidara, it has more of a character dynamic as opposed to a plot dynamic, which I think makes them stronger as characters than Hidan and Kakuzu, to where that's almost just like...
I mean, they are just stronger as characters anyway. But because... So, two things. Now, obviously, just real quick to address the counter thing. If you were to change Sasori and Deidara, there's nothing... You have to change either Deidara as well. You can't just change Sasori. You either have to just change Deidara's perspective of art in order to make Sasori's opposite one something opposite that isn't immortality, or you just have to throw out the art concept and just do something entirely different, which, I mean, you could do, but it's like, you've got to really change them if you're going to do that. It's not a small change thing, because it just doesn't work otherwise. So, getting back to the point, though, Deidara's thing with art is his character. Sasori's thing with art, in a large sense, it's not entirely his character, but it's very central to his character. Hidan's thing with immortality is more so just his ability. Same with Kakuzu. Now, with Kakuzu, you can get a slight thing with, like, his and Kakashi's debate on, like, the next generation and blah blah blah. It's very small though. It's not like,
you mean the
frankly,
two sentences at the end of the arc after Kakuzu was defeated
are in the data book. I mean, in the story. So it's like, it's not really as intertwined with their characters as it is just their abilities. Whereas with Sasori and Deidara, it is their characters. Especially Deidara. It is entirely his character. It is entirely his motivation for like everything.
Yeah. Now, I will say, in one sense, just writing the story as it is, I think it'd be easier to get away with changing Sasori and Deidara by, like, removing their immortality art thing, rather than, like, Hidan and Kakuzu. Like, if you remove that, then you're removing almost their entire selves. Like, they're just a shell of their character at that point. But I feel like Sasori and Deidara, they still, like, serve the role that they play in the arc, at least physically. Whereas Hidan and Kakuzu, you take that away from them, you've taken away the arc, in essence. So that's just like a little caveat there, but in general, I do agree with you.
That's why I said, like, there's... So something I was gonna bring up, now, I didn't have anything specific in mind, but I'm gonna... I think I might have, but I kind of forgot, because it's been a while. But it's been, like, 2 weeks, in fact. So when it comes to Sasori and Deidara, you know, Deidara, art is a moment. Sasori, art is eternal. It's literally like the exact opposite. If you look at Hidan and Kakuzu, they're just both immortal in two different ways, and they are different ways, and they have their differences, but they're not opposite in the same way. They're not really as foily. Like, you know, it's not like... Technically they are, but no, it's not the same, if that makes sense. So, because, like, again, like, Hidan is just, he can't die. Kakuzu is just, he's got 5 hearts. Like, it's just it's just one can't die, the other can die if you kill him 5 times. He's pseudo immortal, and he can live forever by just stealing more hearts. We don't even know if he can live forever. It's not even addressed whether or not he can live forever. So it's like, it's not even doing, hypothetically, if you wanted to, if you want to keep Sasori's immortality and Hidan Kakuzu's immortality, something interesting you could do, which you can argue is just make it too similar to Sasori versus Deidara, but something interesting you could do is, okay, I'm going to make an example that's not really the best, but so when Tsunade uses 100 healings, she's quote-unquote immortal for a moment. She's like immortal for like a minute or whatever. You could then have a comparison to where someone's like immortal forever, but like in the opposite way. So okay, the idea I'm presenting, which I don't know how to do this best, but it would be like this. If Hidan hypothetically for like 1 minute could be completely immortal to where you can blow him up, he regenerates, and just nothing kills him. He's just literally impossible for that moment, essentially. Whereas Kakuzu would be like somehow the exact opposite, to where like I don't want to say like you can kill him in only a brief moment, but like,
so I have the explanation
like,
for you.
The rest of him is immortal, but like he's very killable all the. So similar to Sasori's
I know how to make it work.
You can always kill it.
I know exactly.
But the rest of him's like immortal or something.
I don't know how to
explain
analogy.
this.
So the exact analogy would be in Boruto, currently 2 Blue Vortex, Kawaki. Let's just say he has accessed himself to his limiters and he can make them go up or down. Not limiters, but like he could like remove his defense to bolster his offense for like a risky attack for like 1 moment. That's like a good example of that.
Okay. So the other thing I was going to say is Hidan could hypothetically be, you can pick and choose which is which here, but Hidan could hypothetically be literally actually perfectly immortal for like 1 minute and then be normal otherwise. Whereas Kakuzu could be like completely immortal except for 1 Achilles heel, which is never immortal or something like that, as an example. To like just to make a contrast. You could also do the thing to where like one of them has immortal defense but bad offense, but at the same time that just how do you kill him then? But
what you just described is literally the dynamic between 2 antagonists in Dragon Ball Super. Goku, Black, and Zamasu. And I know you have no idea what that means.
That's funny. But so in that sense, you'd be doing something similar to Deidara, because in this case, Hidan, he's just like Deidara. He'd be doing the Deidara thing. Kakuzu would be like Sasori, doing a similar thing to Sasori in that sense.
Real quick, just to, I guess, spoil the Dragon Ball Super thing for you, because I think it's funny enough to do so. The reason the antagonists lose in that arc is because one of them's immortal, the other one isn't. They fuse together to become even more powerful to defeat the protagonist, but in an immortal fusing with a mortal, they're able to kill the mortal side of the single being, and so it just like messes them all up or whatever. So,
yeah,
it's crazy. Just imagine that, but for Naruto.
But yeah, anyway, like you could do something like that, but then at that point, it's like, if you're doing it for 2 pairs, should you be doing this for the other pairs as well? Because then you really gotta change Kisame and Itachi and Pain. Now you could argue like Itachi's immortal in the sense that his Yada Mirror can protect him from everything, and Kisame is immortal because he can just regenerate from anything with Samehara. Pain's immortal because he can Shinra Tensei anything. Konan's immortal because she can turn to fate for. I mean, I guess if you want to stretch it, you could do that sort of thing, but I don't know, bro.
Well, what I will say here is, again, just as a small caveat, is that we don't want to change Hidan and Kakuzu, Deidara and Sasori, we don't want to change them because we love this aspect of their character more than we love Hidan and Kakuzu's this aspect of their character. The difference is, this just is all that Hidan and Kakuzu's character is. We not only love this aspect of them less, we just love them less as characters, because that's all they are, whereas Sasori and Deidara, they just have more in general, and this is just one aspect of them. Like, I feel like if you remove this, then Hidan is just I feel like Kakuzu is just like
He's just a good personality.
Body bag. Exactly, he's just a good personality. And then Kakuzu, he doesn't even have a character. He's just a walking.
He doesn't even have a personality.
Exactly. Like you just lose him entirely. He's just a thing.
It's just a razor. Okay, that's the Kakuzu is Mizuki is Kakuzu rewrite.
There you go. Yeah. A little bit too on the nose, but okay. So that was all of yours. Did you have anything more to add from that perspective?
Which perspective? The king aspect?
Well, yeah, just however you would have this new dynamic for them.
Well, the other question that I want to get into is so like, each duo generally's got like a thing in common. So, for example, Data and Sasori art, Kakuzu immortality. They're not always opposites, just as is in the case of Sasori Data. They're opposite. Hina and Kakuzu is really not opposite. Kisame and Itachi's whole thing isn't really opposite, even though sometimes it feels like there is a difference. For example, Kisame makes it seem like in some scenes he loves killing his comrades, whereas Itachi didn't. But
that's ironically kind of the Hidan Kakuzu thing, anyways. Not really, but kind of.
But like, I think later on though, it's clear that Kisame didn't love it. It's just he did what he was told, and he became I don't want to say accustomed, but like tuned it out. He gained a tolerance. I don't know what the word I'm thinking.
I would say they do have
no longer phased him anymore. He got to that point basically.
I would say they do have a difference. I don't know what the word would be because I wouldn't want to use the word philosophy, but like their idea on humankind, kind of.
Yeah, with that sharp conversation.
Yeah, the fact that Itachi's like, oh, someone like you is just a thug who got lost in the mist.
Yeah,
compared to someone like me.
So the problem is that one's harder to pinpoint though, because it's like they are foils, but it's not like again, it's not the art is a moment, art is eternal, opposite type
exactly.
foil.
Like it's more like the concept of the reason why they left their village.
Yeah, and that's the thing that is common with all the pairs. It's like they have a subject matter, art, immortality, killing your comrades, and so on. Those are the things that are common with all the pairs. They each have a thing going on for them.
To be fair, I feel like
it's not always opposites. And if that's the case, arguably should Data and Sasori be less opposite, because they're really the only ones doing the opposite thing.
Well, what I will say is that for Itachi and Kisame, I think this would be the exception of the rule to where you would want them to not have as much of a thing. They can still have this disagreement, but the point is you want Itachi to be mysterious at this point of the series for both the characters and universe and obviously the audience.
Yeah, you don't really get it until the end anyway. Like at the end of the day, a lot of their dynamic is revealed in Kisame's death. It's really where that's exposed.
But at that point, it's like
there.
Too late. Yeah, like you can't really.
No, I don't think so.
Else.
It's still there. Like, because you retroactively look back, that dynamic was always there. You just didn't know everything the whole time. But it's still there.
What I mean was like changing Itachi's character. Like Itachi was set in stone because he'd already like died, so it was like we already knew what he was like in life up to that point.
Yeah. Oh, I'm confused what your point with that is.
Yeah. Whatever.
What does that have to do with anything?
It was. I mean, you sounded like you were disagreeing. I don't know.
Disagreeing with what?
Like
whether it's too late in what sense is it too late? I'm confused
because we already know what Itachi's like when he's around other people, and so if we're adding something after the fact, it's like, well, he wasn't actually like that.
What are we adding after the fact that he wasn't actually like?
Whatever you're thinking of to be such an express disagreement, like if he's goofily disagreeing in the same way that Hidan and Kakuzu were, or Sasori and Orochimaru, or anything like that.
I'm not saying they're doing that.
Okay.
Or that they should.
Perfect. Well, if you were saying that, then it would be too late to do that.
Okay. Well, now the confusion is, what did I say that made you think that? Because what I was saying is, no other pair is arguing in the same opposition-like way that Data and Sasori are. So the argument is, should Data and Sorcery even be doing that to that extent? Considering they're really the odd
yeah,
ones
I think
out
they
in that
should.
sense.
Because I don't
Well, I
think
love it.
I don't think
But
that Pain and Conan even count because they're the leaders. I wouldn't consider them a duo even, really. If anything, it's a trio
they
with
kind
one
of
of the
are,
members
though.
dying. It's like
But I mean, actually, okay. This is an interesting segue to a Naruto topic. Okay. In many ways, Naruto versus Neji is just the more extreme / amplified version of Naruto versus Kiba. Narratively, do you think these fights should be back to back for Naruto like this? Is this better or worse overall? Should there be a fight between these two? Should Naruto only fight one of them? Is it better to have the stepping stone, which is Kiba, in the same direction like this? So that's the first question. And then I have other follow-ups after. Now, just to clarify, do I need to explain why it's just the amplified version of Naruto versus Kiba, or would you like me to just briefly cover that aspect?
You can. I agree, but I don't think this is like the craziest thing in the world anyways, because it's not like Kiba's a genius, even if he's being hyped up. It's more that Naruto's a failure, which is I think what you're gonna get at.
Well, I mean, the point is, I mean, like,
Naruto's the
briefly,
underdog,
okay,
but
so
he wants to be the
Kiba's
top
supposed to be
dog.
pretty strong. Naruto's supposed to be the underdog loser, blah, blah, blah. Kiba's
Exactly.
dicking on him, beating him up. He's on the ground, and he's like, you think you're gonna be Hokage? Not a chance, bro. I'm gonna be Hokage. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Naruto's gonna overcome the strong Kiba. Blah blah blah. Prove his worth. Blah blah. I know it's Neji just doing the same thing, but he's adding in destiny to it. Like,
Yeah.
and he's even stronger than Kiba. And blah blah blah. It's a very similar thing. So the question is, back to the question: do you think it's better that they did this, or is it too similar too soon?
So I personally thought it was fine because I think it's not too similar, different enough.
But I would agree. I think it's fine. The question is, would it be better to change something or add something? Is the question, or is it better the way it is?
So you're gonna be mad at me for saying this. I low-key think I like the Kiba fight more than the Neji fight. At least in terms of this aspect. Like, I like the underdog thing a little bit more than the genius and the failure, even if the genius failure thing is more significant, more important. It means more. But, like, I get a little bit more amped up whenever I see Naruto being like, I'm gonna be the top dog.
There's certain.
It's a little bit more bare bones, but I think I like
better
that
about
more
each fight.
basic.
I think they're both pretty darn good.
They are both good. I'm not saying the Neji fight's bad by any means. I think it's very good. In fact, again, I think it's better than the Kiba fight in ways. It's just in certain ways, I think the Kiba fight's a little bit better.
I think they each have their strengths. So as similar as they are, they each do some things a little bit better.
Probably the way I should have worded that, but yeah. This wouldn't be.
But the question is, do you think either something about Kiba or something about Neji should have been changed, or should there be something in between them to break the spice in some way? Or do you think it's best as is?
It's hard to say. There's arguments for all. I like it the way it is, but if you had something different in mind, which I know you already do.
I didn't have anything in mind, but...
Okay. Well, I have other things in mind, but that gets to the second part that you haven't said yet.
What are you referring to?
Who would you have him Naruto fight instead if it wasn't Kiba? And I haven't seen the
yeah. So then the next part is, if Naruto were to fight someone else, who would you have him fight? Similarly, if Kiba were to fight someone else in the prelims, who would you have Kiba fight?
Okay, so
I put them in spoilers for a reason.
Yeah,
I had some cool ideas that didn't overly change too much, but I thought they could be cool to talk about. But I want to hear yours first.
Yeah, so before I say my answer, I'm
expecting you to say one of mine. I am expecting you to say this character for at least Naruto or Kiba.
Okay. Well, Kiba's a little bit more difficult since I feel like this is literally Kiba's entire point at this point. Like, you'd have to look at Sasuke retrieval to see whatever would work best playing into that. But besides that, so the very first thing I thought of when I read this topic of yours for the first time after you posted it, so we're just going to ignore the domino effect that you would have to change literally every fight, basically, right? For the prelims.
Not necessarily.
Well, because like
Depends
not
on depends on who
necessarily.
you pick.
Yes, it does. But like hypothetically, if you choose, oh, Naruto's gonna fight Hinata, that's not one of my picks. I'm just using that as a hypothetical. Oh, well, then
Yeah.
now who does Hinata fight? Oh, well, now who
Correct.
does Neji fight? And technically,
Yes.
yes, you don't have to change everyone because you could change like probably at least minimum.
Yeah, I am
4.
considering some of the domino effects with my choices. Like,
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to ignore that entirely for my answer.
can you do both versions? One where you ignore and one
Oh
where you
my
don't ignore?
God, sure. Even though I haven't thought about that at all. To be fair, I haven't even thought about like the first one of who I think would be best thematic. I gave it a little bit of entertainment. I just never came to like any kind of answer. I didn't think about too much.
This is really weird. My Discord just like, okay, there we go. It was like loading as if I had no connection, but I could still hear you.
Well,
but...
okay. For reference for everyone listening, I did say to Kamui beforehand that the reason we're going to stream early, which we ended up not doing because we talked for an hour before stream, is because it's going to rain at midnight, so much so that it's going to be very stormy to where I'm sure I'm going to lose my Wi-Fi, if not power. So it is doing that right now. So Kamui, that might just be not an issue on your part because it is doing that right now.
Well, no, it was just my Discord was loading as if I was using Wi-Fi, but I was still hearing you. So
okay. Well, for the record, I have my headphones on, and my window is shut, and my ceiling fan is on, and I can hear it raining outside. It is that loud.
Well, I mean, if something happens, then something happens. But
yes, well, so stream
maybe
when
if
you
the
cut
stream
off,
goes down, but Discord still works, we could always switch to a movie instead, depending on what time that is. But
sure,
we'll go with the flow.
Okay. Anyway, so back to what I was gonna say. My answer was I saying there anything before that, or you want to just go to my answer?
No, it kind of got. I kind of just So your
okay.
Answers.
So the answer that I'm thinking of, again, didn't think about this beforehand. I'm just coming up with this like tonight, like off the cuff. I would have him fight Zaku for the.
That's the one I was gonna say.
Yeah, I thought so.
That's the character I meant. I said I think you're going to pick that character
for the obvious reason that he fought Sasuke, and now you're gonna have him parallel that. And obviously, Zaku would say a lot of things as well. But... And then especially if he's learning a technique from Sasuke to use to defeat Zaku, and he can't do it without that, that'd be especially cool. But then also the fact that he's fighting the Sound Ninja, which is going into Orochimaru obviousness, but then also the fact that the Sound Ninja were just the antagonists, and look at how dominating they were against like the 20 billion people they were fighting when Naruto and Sasuke were passed out, and now Naruto and Sasuke are the ones who have to fight them in the prelims, and so we know they're overwhelming dominant strength, and now they have to essentially solo these members. That's sort of.
And not only that, Zaku never saw Naruto fight, and Naruto never saw Zaku fight. Yeah. They both don't know each other's abilities, but the audience knows them, which would be interesting going into that fight as well.
And just thinking about their abilities, it would be a really cool fight to see. Especially.
Also, Zaku's got a good personality to be a dick to Naruto.
Exactly. That's another factor that I was thinking of. And the fact that Zaku was still saved by Orochimaru with that flashback or whatever, you'd still have that there for this, I think would work really well for this Naruto fight.
I also think Dosu observing this fight is a Team 7 fight at this point could also be interesting if he has anything interesting to say in his mind or out loud during the fight. Say with Kin watching, just because it's Team 7 versus the Sound team again, they could have, in any capacity, interesting things to comment on.
Yeah. I would, for whatever reason, I would have Orochimaru still here to watch this fight just because he's interested in the Nine-Tails brat that he just got done fighting. How is he going to overcome this? Is he going to break the
he leaves after the fight was announced, I think. Zaku versus Shino's already announced when Orochimaru leaves. In this case, he's just, Kakashi's going to take longer writing down the letters. He's going to leave after Naruto beats him.
In fact, this could be the reason that he uses Zaku for the Edo Tensei later. Not that he wouldn't do that anyways, but this could be made like explicitly clear. Zaku, you failed. Therefore,
he's disappointed. No longer he can even show disappointment in Zaku.
Yeah, exactly.
Which Dosu could take note of.
But then again, I do like the aspect that Zaku's like there fighting for Orochimaru when he blows off his arms, and Orochimaru's not even there to see it. That aspect is really well done in the series as it is.
Yeah, and how Dosu's noticing that Orochimaru's leaving before Zaku even starts the fight. Like, he doesn't even care.
Yeah, exactly. That does work well. We would lose that, but it's a pro and con. So,
It's a give and take, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, now, with that in mind, if you're going with Zaku,
who does Shino
you have the
fight?
question of, okay, I have other things to say, but first, if Zaku fights Naruto, the question is, do you either do one of the following, which is going to kind of spoil some of my other answers, but you can either have Kiba fight Shino.
Yeah,
which
that's
is one
the cop out. Because that's the first thing I was going to say, just to get out of it.
Yes, and that could work because they were already bickering in the Force of Death. You could just do a thing to where they're kind of like continuing that bickering while also it's a friendly battle, whatever.
And I agree.
Or you can change some more fights.
Yeah. And I agree that there is reasons to have Kiba and Shino fight, and I would know them. But you also know if I said that, the primary reason I would be saying it, the first thing on my mind would be just to get out of it.
Yeah.
But sorry,
so, you could move Shino to Kankuro in Kiba versus Mizumi. However, in that case, now you've got a problem. Shino versus Kankuro. Okay, so now you're doing this early. This could be a cool fight and all. But I guess Shino's just going down. Now Kiba's in the final. So Kiba's going to fight Kankuro in the fourth in that case. Alternatively,
I don't like that
Shino
at all.
fight Mizumi, the bendy guy, and Kiba loses to Kankuro. Now that could be interesting.
Could work.
To have Kiba fight Kankuro. Granted, that fight's not going to have you're not going to be able to do the same thing with Kankuro Mizumi's fight versus Kiba, because I don't think anyone wants Kiba to just get one shot like that. No. You're going to need to do something.
You do a cool fight. So this is ridiculous, but I think this fight could be really cool. Not that we would... I would like it if they went this route. If they just went the route of bully versus bully. Who can out-bully the other? Because, Kankuro's, the bully for kids, and Kiba's the cocky kid. The
two bullies are going at it.
Exactly. That'd be cool.
No. On a similar note,
yeah,
I also have, as a possibility, Kiba fights Zaku as one of the options.
Okay.
In which case, Naruto fights Mizumi, the bendy guy. Why is this interesting? Who does Sasuke fight? Yoroi, one of Kabuto's teammates. Who is Naruto fight? The other Kabuto teammate, Mizumi. And you're just going to change Mizumi to make him more interesting as a person in this case.
Bro, I'm going to be honest. See, the problem with him fighting Mizumi, you either have to change Mizumi's entire arsenal, or just make him weaker. Wins. But no, he's not going to win. He's going to kill Naruto. Okay, you've seen Hunter x Hunter. This is going to be like the Nen exam. What is it? What is the exam?
Hunter exam?
The Hunter. yeah, it's on the freaking title. Oh my god. Yeah, it's going to be like the Hunter exam. It's going to be like Gon versus Hanzo. Who's it? Hanzo?
Yeah, if Hanzo wanted to kill Gon.
Exactly. Hanzo didn't want to freaking do it. He's like, oh, I'm going to break your arm. Okay, I'm going to break your neck. Okay, I give up. Mizumi's not going to do it. He's just going to break Naruto's neck. Naruto's going to go for the shadow clone. He's just going to die. It's not going to work.
That's the problem. Mizumi's Mizumi's underrated. Bro is way stronger than Yoroi. Bro, unironically, can beat most of the exam people by just catching them off guard with this ability that they're just not ready for. It's like Dosu, except, there's no throwing up. It's just once you're caught, you are done.
Yeah.
They both just win by off guard.
So the only way I could see this working is if you make Mizumi weaker, to where he's just slower, to where Naruto can run around for a little bit. Maybe even for an entire episode, as you see Naruto's flashbacks and all this sad stuff, and Mizumi's dogging on him the same way Kiba was. Just even playing with his food, freaking hunting Naruto for all I care. He's not even trying. He could win at any moment. He's just choosing not to, because he wants to be sadistic like Code. So then, I'm just going to have a thing to where Orochimaru's seal isn't as strong, to where Naruto starts overcoming it, to where once he Mizumi is going to get him in the headlock to the point that he is actually just going to break Naruto's neck. But then Nine Tails healing shenanigans is going to work, and then Naruto's going to be in rage mode, and then do whatever.
Yeah, you could just have Naruto awaken the eyes or something.
Yeah.
The problem is then it's like, okay, you might want to just remove the whole Nine Tails 5-prong seal thing. Just have Orochimaru knock him out or something. I don't know, because
that's fine
if you're gonna do that,
because I don't really care anyways. Sense. Yeah. Oh, Jiraiya undoes it. Just have him not have it be done in the first place, and then who cares? It's not a big deal. So.
Yeah, just don't write in that plot point in the first place. I mean, it's cool, but like, if you're gonna do Mizumi fight, I'm sorry, Naruto's got to use the Nine Tails. And what you could do is have it used differently from how he uses it versus Neji, to where the way he uses it versus Neji is blatantly better, either from a tactical or power standpoint, or both, to where Naruto could be so mindlessly strong that, hypothetically, it worked on Mizumi, but that Naruto would have lost to someone like Neji. So, training it and blah, blah, blah makes the difference there, kind of thing. In which case, you could argue that actually gives more merit to Naruto's training with Jiraiya, because we're seeing a blatant, oh, this was good for Naruto. Like, this is actively making him better, kind of thing.
Yeah. What do you think they would do for like the Jiraiya saying, is the Nine Tails a blessing or a curse thing? Because yes, he used it as a blessing to not only survive, but to beat Mizumi, but he's using it in like his rage form, which is supposed to be bad.
That's the question.
Plus, this goes against Swag Kage's point that he never uses that rage form to win. It's only a hindrance to him early on.
So, yeah. Wait, who said that? Oh, Hot Boy?
Swag Kage.
Swag Kage. Well, I mean, he used it to beat Haku.
But he had to stop himself.
Yeah, but like, he beat Haku with the rage form. He beat Orochimaru's snake with the rage form.
I'm not going to count the snake. He lost to Orochimaru.
Okay, that's fine. But like, still, though, it's kind of like, well, you know, so, I mean, the thing you would probably have to do is just have Naruto hurt himself in the process. Now, how exactly? I don't know. Maybe when he's using his claws somehow to cut through Mizumi to make him let go, and in the process, it, like, stabs himself. Something that just hurts Naruto himself. Or maybe, like, hypothetically, this is goofy, but, like, in order to stab through Mizumi's arm, Naruto stabs through Mizumi's arm into himself, stabbing himself in the process in order to like break free or something like that. Like something to where it hurts himself is probably what you would have to do.
Yeah.
But because you can't have Naruto lose here. So.
Exactly. But we've talked about the Neji thing before anyways, and we agree that it should be a thing to where he's purposefully not using his rage form. He's just using the orange red chakra, whatever you want to call it. They need to make that even more of a thing, in my opinion, but because we definitely talked about that before. I think this would just make that and then
when he uses rage form later on in the Sasuke retrieval arc, they again make it a thing to where this is either it's showing Naruto losing himself. So in this case, something you could do, because this kind of a thing anyway. If you look at the Haku fight, Naruto's being inhumane, not human, when he's being rage mode versus Haku. He stops himself, becomes human again. That's when he narratively wins later on with Zabuza. So, Neji's case, he's being very humane. He's using his power in a humane way. He's going to win. When he loses himself to his anger and rage in the Sasuke retrieval arc, again, could play into his failure. Had he stayed humane, he could have better listened to, understood, and talked to Sasuke. But because he let rage overcome him, talking was done, and Naruto lost. He didn't try to understand Sasuke. And so the power he's using, even if it's not quote-unquote the reason he loses, it's at least symbolically representative of why he's losing. It's the same idea. He's losing his humanity, he's not talking. And to Kimimaro, I guess it's just, Kimimaro's just that good, for one thing, but also, he's being angry, he's losing.
Yeah. This is goofy to say, but I am going to mention it as like a serious point as well, is that this also works to like better make sense of Sasuke's pile drive that broke Naruto's neck in their final fight there at the end of part 1. Because if Naruto's breaking his neck here and healing it, it's a little bit more understandable and believable than it happening there. the fact that we get to see it, and it also just parallels those two fights, especially if he's using his rage form to fight and win or lose in this case.
Yeah. So I definitely think you could do something like this. Now, granted, you could technically do this in the Kiba fight too. I mean, honestly, like you could still do this, but
yeah. And similar to how we were saying,
it's more necessary in the Mizumi fight though, because otherwise Naruto is not winning.
Exactly. And same how we were saying like Kankuro versus Kiba, it's like the bully versus bully fight. This fight would be really cool if this is the monster versus monster fight, Mizumi versus Naruto. Would that be something?
Before you get to Gaara, where Naruto has a choice. Again, he's going to use the humane Ninetales form versus Gaara at the end. It very easily could have been battle between monsters, but Naruto stays human the whole time, showing his growth.
Yeah. In fact, it could be kind of cool is if Mizumi like heard from Orochimaru about what Naruto did fighting him, and he's trying to egg Naruto on to get Naruto to use that form since he's so weak. He just wants, and that can be his downfall because he gets what he wants.
It
wasn't what he actually wanted.
So, like, I think this works because first of all, I mean, Kabuto doesn't have this conversation with Orochimaru at that moment, but you could just have him mention something about the Ninetales when he's doing the ninja info cards. Or he gives them also to not just to Orochimaru, but he gives the ninja info cards to even Yoroi and Mizumi so they can look too. Like,
I got something else. Is that this could help better foreshadow and lead into whatever Kabuto versus Orochimaru thing they had going on, to where Orochimaru didn't tell Mizumi, but Kabuto did tell Mizumi behind Orochimaru's back for whatever reason. I'm trying to get Naruto to use the power. Maybe Orochimaru.
Not to mention that you have Sasuke versus Yoroi, Naruto versus Mizumi, Kabuto versus Kakashi. Obviously, Sakura's kind of getting left out there, but I don't think we need Sakura versus Orochimaru. So
there is an elephant in the room that I do want to address, and that's okay because I already have a solution. I don't know if you'd like this solution, but I'm just going to say it anyways after I say the problem. So the problem here, literally everyone just sees Naruto use the Ninetales. That's not a problem per se, but like Neji shouldn't see it. Everyone else probably shouldn't see it, especially Hinata. Unless you could argue that it's actually a good thing Hinata sees it. Sakura is interesting there. Sasuke is not there, neither is Kakashi, so that's fine. But Orochimaru, it's not a problem. But I already have a solution. Is that we're just gonna move Naruto's fight to the very end, to where nobody's there to watch it anyways. Everyone else just left already. It's just the final fight.
Well, I guess you can just rewrite it to where people leave after they won instead of staying, because otherwise they are there. But
yeah, exactly.
Because Neji is there. Neji's really the big one, to where because if he sees it, he's not going to be as surprised when it happens later on. And him being surprised was kind of like a big deal, and him just being confused and not thinking straight. And if he's ready for it, bro might just win.
Well, then again, it could also be kind of cool if everyone sees it, because maybe Mizumi's like trying to egg him on, like saying things out loud, like show us all what you've been hiding, the real reason the villagers hate you, and then the kids can be like, the real reason?
Yeah, that could be like making them confused, and then they see and they're scared. So then when Naruto uses it, that could also be interesting, because if Naruto looks really okay. I don't think this ruins Neji being surprised and scared when Kurama roars at him. So when he sees Sasuke in the curse mark, he's not scared. He's just like, oh, so that's Uchiha's power. He's stronger than I thought. He's not saying I can't win. He's ready to fight him in the finals and whatnot. But like, it's like, oh, he's strong. When he sees Naruto, it can be like, oh, this kid's pretty strong. The only problem is that it's kind of weird for him to just be insisting that he's a failure. But he could be arguing, Naruto, you're a failure. The only thing that got you here is the Ninetales fox.
Ooh.
Then the Ninetales roars at him later on. It's like, okay, shit, I'm fighting the Ninetales now. Then he can just get serious, and you can just upscale Naruto. Don't have Neji be so shocked. I don't know. If you want, it doesn't really matter. But like, you can still do that sort of thing. It does mess up some things, but not completely.
To a problem, I feel like if you say it that way, Neji low-key is kind of right. Considering Naruto loses well, but I does. In both fights. Like, yeah, Naruto's not just the Nine Tails. He wins without the Nine Tails, blah, blah, blah. He got pure on his own.
Yeah, but you're really making it. Because if Neji's argument is literally, you're a failure. It's only the Nine Tails that got you this far.
And he's not wrong.
As far as the prelims go, that just is correct. So
I don't know about that, but...
that's the problem.
But I do like it is very interesting if every one of the kids sees this, because they don't know that Naruto is Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, because that's taboo. That goes back to episode 1. They could really play on that. Like, is this what my dad was talking about? Is this why we don't like Naruto? I thought this whole time it's just because he was a loser or whatever. Like, this would be a cool revelation for all of them.
Or I'd be like, wait, is this the boy that we're not supposed to talk about, kind of thing? Like,
well, they already know who it is. They just don't know why.
I guess, yeah. But
well, they don't know why the parents hate him. The kids just hate him because they're all just bullies and they think he's a loser.
Okay.
Loud.
So who would you rather focus on? Okay, so I'd say there's depending on when you do the Naruto fight here, there's really 3 characters I would pick. You can either have, and you can do all 3 of them, Sakura, Shikamaru, or Hinata. Now, I think Hinata should mostly just be positive about Naruto in this case, but it could be interesting to have Shikamaru be the one to be like, so this is like thinking that's why everyone hates Naruto, but he's not like upset. He's not even scared. He's just like interested. You could also do that for Sakura too, though.
Well, it's funny you say that because you literally chose my 3. I was going to say literally exactly those 3.
Yeah. But those are like the 3 focused characters to have. I mean, you do have flashbacks of Shikamaru talking to Shikaku about Naruto in the same way. You could just kind of implement this here. Just play into it.
It could be cool if some of the kids did play into the hatred. Like, Choji's just similar to Choza, just hated Naruto. Freaking Kankuro
or
would be freaking like hyping him up.
I don't know. Like
I would love for Kankuro to be hyping up. Like, he's all in for this. Like, he wants Naruto to lose his mind and he's being a bully.
Yeah, no, Kankuro's just like, Kankuro wants to egg him on. He could be thinking about. It could be interesting to see how Kankuro thinks about. So obviously.
True.
Okay, so we know that after the Neji fight, Kankuro walks over to Naruto thinking he's a loser and whatnot, and he's just trying to talk to Naruto to learn about Neji, which he can still do that sort of thing, but he could also be interested in talking to Naruto because of how similar he is to Gaara.
I didn't even think about it. Yeah, well, and then also Gaara's reaction to this could be interesting.
Yeah, because granted, Naruto says it to Gaara in the hospital for the first time. I've got the real thing. Does that mean he's just like a demon on ice?
That doesn't
but he could still just say it.
Jinchuriki.
He could just be like, you've already seen it. I've got the real thing inside of me. And then Gaara can go on to say, like, I have one too, buddy.
But, like, that doesn't confirm to Gaara that Naruto is a Jinchuriki. Like, we don't know what he means there.
Yeah.
So
he just kind of just rolls with it. But,
yeah.
I mean, either way, it could be interesting to see their reactions.
Exactly. I feel like Sakura would be the one to focus on the most there. Especially, it is a thing that they were doing to having Hinata intentionally knocked out when Naruto's using the Nine Tails in the Neji fight. So I feel like Hinata was never supposed to see it for various reasons. So she could only see Naruto as this pure, innocent, whatever.
That's fair, yeah.
There's a couple.
But again, in this case, you just rewrite the order. The only thing is, so Neji, like Naruto's getting mad at like Neji, and he's going to say like you're a failure and blah blah blah. It's kind of funny for him to say that before even seeing Naruto fight. But
I mean, it could be kind of cool if we go straight from the Hinata fight into the Naruto fights. Like Naruto doesn't even have time to go up to the bleachers. It's like he's like holding Hinata's blood as Hiss and Mizumi's names are chosen. Mizumi jumps down. Naruto's like, I'm in a bad mood, similar to what Sasuke says at the 5 Kage Summit.
Yeah.
They could easily play into the Nine Tails there.
You could just have Mizumi like egging on about the Hinata fight too. He could be like saying things to probe him. Be like why does a loser or be like one loser loves another loser or something like I don't know. It's something along those lines to where he's just saying like, I bet the reason you like her so much is because you're both losers, huh?
That would be so cool, bro. Even a stupid line like, "Oh, you jumped in for her, but no one's here to save you now." Going in the Nine Tails, I don't know.
Or no, Musubi says like, it took all the Jonin to stop Neji from killing that girl, huh? I wonder how many Jonin will step in to stop you. What's to stop me from killing you?
He's like, "Oh, only 3 stepped in for Neji. I bet I could get double."
But I'd be like that Jonin up there. He's looking at Asuma didn't step in for Neji. I wonder if I can get him to step in for this one.
Or even funnier, like, "Oh, only Jonin stepped in for Neji. I wonder if I could get the Hokage to jump down."
Yeah, the Hokage's gonna have to stop me.
The Jonin are too slow.
Or he's just like, not even the Jonin will be able to stop me from killing you.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Hyping himself up.
Bro,
I mean, to be fair,
Naruto's
Naruto's Naito's form is like Jonin level based off Haku, so like, he could just be Jonin. The problem is, then why is Sasuke beating Yoroi without the curse?
I mean, Yoroi could just be weaker, that's fine.
The other question is, well, let's address the other elephant in the room. Okay, I can it's already a debate on why they're letting him do this in the finals, but at least everyone's noticing that Naruto's controlling it. Okay, real talk. Why are they allowing Naruto to just go crazy Nine Tails without stopping the fight when they're just gonna stop Sasuke if he uses the curse mark?
I mean, they don't stop him in the Neji fight anyways. It's nonsense as it is.
But again, though, I mean, again, you can make the argument that that's dumb, but at least he's clearly in control. Whereas this case, Naruto's supposed to not be in control. Why are they just letting this happen?
Yeah. I mean, Jiraiya's not introduced yet, but at least for the finale one, I wish they could explain it with Jiraiya just told Hiruzen it's okay, based on what he's seen.
Oh, like that he learned to control it or something.
That's obviously not what happened, or at least it's not on screen. I don't think it happened.
Yeah, because Hiruzen's literally like, when did he learn to control its strength?
Exactly, yeah. He's not even controlling
his line
strength.
Makes more sense if he saw Naruto not in control of its strength. But then why isn't he stopping the fights?
I mean, I wouldn't even describe Naruto as controlling its strength. Like, yes, he's not using his rage form, but this isn't a perfect Jinchuriki or anything. This isn't KCM. What are you talking about?
I mean, it's kind of a pseudo KCM, but it's also not, yeah.
Not at all. It's just a mini transformation. It's essentially what Gaara's doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of tough with some of those specifics of like, what do you want to do? Like, do you want, like, because again, though, if Neji sees this, how much is that going to affect everything? That's the problem. But yeah. I do like this as a concept. It's definitely, I'll say, doing this definitely might take away a bit from Kiba, but I think you could still make Kiba versus Kankuro a fun fight of bullies or whatever. And then you're just adding to Mizumi, who unfortunately just got shafted. He was just OP, but got screwed over and then just deleted.
I mean, a really fun aspect with Kiba versus Kankuro is the fact that they both have like a sidekick in Akamaru and
not only that though, I'm gonna add to this. This is gonna add into Kankuro saving Kiba in the 5-7 not 5 Sasuke Retrieval.
That's a rewrite right there.
Sasuke Retrieval, because it's like, so Gaara saves Lee, who he fought. Temari saves Shikamaru, who she fought.
Yeah.
Kankuro saves Kiba, who we'd never fought.
I didn't even think about that as an aspect. That absolutely should have been the case. I can't believe we've never said that before. It's insane.
I think we have said that before when we're discussing Ashino and the Sasuke Retrieval mission type rewrite.
So real quick, sticking with that, how would you play into that thematically going into the Sasuke Retrieval arc with Kiba's backstory? So like, hypothetically, maybe Kiba and like, it's so presented
real quick.
Yeah.
Before you get into anything serious.
Yeah.
So I just want to mention this because it's funny. Naruto's complaining about Kiba using Akamaru in their fight, and Hayato's answer is like, Kankuro can use puppets. It's the same idea. So in this case, it's like Kankuro's puppet and the Akamaru. Those are like the parallels.
Exactly. Well, that's what I said earlier, yeah. They both got the sidekick.
Now continue.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
playing into like the narrative, you could have something along lines of it's presented as both Kiba and Kankuro are like the bullies, but at least from Kiba's perspective, is that obviously he's not actually a bully. Deep down, he cares a lot about Akamaru, so maybe he's like losing, and it's through the love of Akamaru, like fighting for like a loved one that actually is like alive compared to a puppet. A puppet could never compare to Akamaru in the bond we have. They could do something there. If you want to have it be
The
a
only problem is
Contras,
that Kiba's gonna lose.
Zaku loses, so I feel like that's a similar idea, anyways.
Yeah, like I say, it does also play into Shino wanting to fight Kankuro, though. He beat Kiba. Shino's got a reason to wanna beat Kankuro here.
I mean, maybe the reason that Kankuro can win this fight is because Kiba isn't considering something that it's almost like the antithesis to what they go in for Gaara, but it's like, I feel like it's different enough to where it can work, to where fighting for yourself can give you strength, whereas fighting for someone else, if it's you're defending someone else, you're focused on doing that rather than winning.
You could do something to where there's a difference between what Kiba does and Naruto here. Or you could also just do a thing to where something simple in terms of ninja mindset. So this isn't exactly what you're saying, but it's similar in some aspects. So in terms of like this, so some of the thing is like, okay, why did like Danzo and them want you to kill your emotions? It makes you a better ninja, quote unquote. Okay, but even though like the best ninja fights for their friends, blah blah blah. So in this case, Kankuro could just be a better ninja, and he's like emphasizing like why he's a better shinobi. Like you're not seeing through deception, blah blah blah. He's a better ninja. Mm-hmm. He's able to focus on his ninja stuff, blah blah. Kiba loses, but then like, you know, as we find in the Naruto fight, though, the truest strength comes from fighting for your comrades. So it's like a kind of a thing there you could do. Another alternative, which you may or may not like, is you could just swap Shino and Kiba in this case. Just have Shino lose the Kankuro here, and then Kiba beats Kankuro in the forest because of bonds fighting love, just as Naruto beats Gaara for the same reason.
Yes, but you're forgetting the Shino comment.
Yes. And also now Shino has become the most uninteresting character ever because he's losing immediately and boring.
The one cool
but
thing.
But Kiba becomes really cool.
Yeah. So I think something they could do here to show what happens later on is that look at the way Sakura and Naruto fought Gaara. Sakura, the way she was fighting, was defending Sasuke. The way Naruto was fighting wasn't defending Sakura, it was attacking Gaara.
Yeah.
So, you could do a similar thing here to where the way Kiba's fighting isn't attacking Kankuro, it's defending Akamaru, and that's why he's losing. Especially if Akamaru's supposed to be weaker anyways.
Or you could, I mean, you could just do a thing to where, so this is kind of like the argument Gaara's making in the first place. It clouds your judgment, blah, blah, blah. Kankuro could just set up a, like, trap to where it's like, either Akamaru dies or you're going to have to protect him, in which case you're going to lose the fight.
Yeah.
It's just Kankuro's strategy.
Exactly. So that is kind of similar to the, from Hunter x Hunter, the Gon Hanzo situation with the arm thing. So in this case, it's going to be, again, they're both presented as bullies, and Kankuro's going to call him out on that, because Kankuro is like a monster, sick, twisted, demented. He only has his puppet, he doesn't care about anything else anyways. As opposed to Kiba, he's going to call him out for being a softie, that he's all bark and no bite. He's not actually all that he builds himself up to be. Deep down, he's actually pretty much a weakling, and so he's going to take Akamaru as hostage, just as Kakashi told Naruto that one time. That's going to play into other thematics, obviously. And then
Kakashi's like, Naruto, this is what I meant in the bell test.
Exactly, yeah. So the point here isn't just to win. Kankuro's having fun with it. He's going to humiliate Kiba. Break him
the same way that Tamari humiliates Tenten.
Yeah, he's gonna. Oh, I love that as a parallel. Yeah, he's gonna tear him down, and that's technically in the same way. In a way, Gaara humiliates Lee. it's just tearing down the opponent in this way, taking away everything.
Yeah, and like
their
again,
pride,
that plays
their
into heroes and being
humility.
like, this Sand team's one to be feared. Like,
Exactly.
I'll also
On all
add
fronts.
that while it is true that Shikamaru low-key won the battle but lost the match, technically speaking, Tamari beat Shikamaru, just technically speaking, off technicality. Gara obviously beat Lee, and in this case, Konkuro beats Kiba, and those are the three that saved the three in the Sasuke retrieval arc.
Yeah.
And this is also just adding more to Kiba's character, who is going to be important in the next arc. The same way that we're starting to build up Shikamaru and the other people, like Neji, Choji, and all them. These are the characters of importance coming up soon, so we're building them up quite a bit here.
No, I like the word you use, or maybe you didn't use it. Maybe I just said it. But fearsome would be the perfect word to describe them, because both in terms of
it's what here's
attitude,
it says. The Saren team is one to be feared.
Yeah, one to be feared. Yeah, it really defines their fearsomeness, not in terms of overwhelming power, but also in terms of like cutthroat attitude. That they are monsters physically and like emotionally or whatever, personality wise.
Yeah. Like they're the scariest team for a reason.
Yeah, it's not just Gaara, it's all of them. All three. I love that.
And if Kiba's built up to be pretty strong, that just amplified Konkuro's strength here. Similarly, this is just a rewrite, but you can just, because Tenten's on the Lee and Neji team, you can just rewrite it to where Tenten just is actually like, she doesn't have to be as strong, but she's like actually comparable in relative. Mm-hmm. And so Tamari beating her is actually a big deal.
I mean, you still disagree, but I think Tenten was the most underrated person in the Chunin exams.
Well, no, I think Mizumi is. Nobody besides us is talking about how strong this. Nobody else is talking about how Mizumi could low-key beat like 18 out of the 20.
Well, if anything, but exactly. Nobody's talking about Mizumi. Everyone is only talking about how weak Tenten is. So she's more underrated.
Well, because it depends on how accurate her So for example, if people put her as, just to say 20 out of 20, when she's actually 17 out of 20, whereas if Mizumi, they think he's 15 out of 20, but he's actually 5 out of 20, Mizumi would be more underrated.
I mean,
because
disagree all you want.
Farther away from where he actually is.
I think Tenten's in the upper half. Disagree all you want.
I doubt it. I mean, I have to think about it, but I doubt it. I think she's definitely in the lower half. I don't know exactly where I'd put her. I mean, I think she's probably stronger than Sakura and Ino, who are realistically the bottom two, but frankly, based off feats, Yoroi's going pretty low. I'm sorry. Sasuke does not look strong in that fight. You can't change my mind. I think Sasuke's losing to half the competitors there. Like, just doesn't look good there.
I would say Tenten I blame
the anime.
Around Zaku's level.
Who was?
Tenten.
No, she wasn't.
I think Tenten could beat anyone Zaku could beat.
Bro, no, Zaku's just gonna do what Tamari did. He's just gonna blow her weapons away.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Mind you, Tamari did it with the flick of her fan. She barely had to move her fan to do it.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like equal power-wise. Not that they would beat one another. Because I do think Zaku would beat Tenten for that exact reason.
I mean, there's no feats. The problem is Tenten doesn't have feats. All she does is throw kunai. There's nothing to say that she's on that level. There's no reason to assume it.
There's no reason to assume she's as weak as you're making her out to be. I think there's clear implications.
All she does is run in a circle very slowly around Tamari.
The fact that she's a confident member of Team Guy, along with Neji and Lee, who are a year or two advanced from everyone else. And then she wants to be the number one Kunoichi like Tsunade. Right.
I just don't think it's actually happened the way it should be. I think we gotta rewrite it.
And the fact she was doing clearly well everywhere else, especially the Forest of Death.
She didn't do anything in the Forest of Death. That's the problem. She didn't do anything. The whole story is the problem.
Yeah, what did Neji do in the Forest of Death?
He at least yelled at Dosu.
Yeah? So where can you scale him based off that?
He wasn't afraid of Sasuke.
Okay.
Granted, neither was Tenten.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Tenten's... Regardless of Tenten hyping up Neji, Tenten's putting down Naruto. Regardless if... I don't think Tenten could beat Naruto in the finals, because he goes 9-tails, but I think Tenten could beat Naruto in the prelims. Or at least it probably would have been pretty close.
The problem is I think they just fucked up 10-10 because it's like it doesn't. So it feels like as we know, Lee's standing is like between weightless Lee and gated Lee. In between there somewhere is where Neji is. So like that's where. But it seems like 10-10 is supposed to be weaker than weighted Lee. It feels like she's just blatantly not on weightless Lee's level. That's for sure. It's just like I feel like she should be closer to that.
Okay.
Or at least she should be weighted Lee level, but I don't think she is. I think Lee with weights just bodies her. But that shouldn't be true.
All of the contestants of the prelims. Let me pull it up. Where exactly can I find it? Do you know? Is there an area for this? Actually, you know what, Kamui? There is an area for this. All the prelims of the tuning exams contestants. There is an area because we made that list. Where's that list?
Yeah. I don't know.
The one we used once and said we were going to use multiple times. It's the this or that challenge, I think it was. It's going to be in a playlist.
I know what it's the thing that we made on stream that took forever.
Yes, it's going to be in a playlist. It's the this or that playlist. It has 1 of 1 video. This or that challenge. Okay, I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to go to the list. I'm going to tell you everyone I think that she could beat. Obviously none of the proctors. Not Dosu. Okay. Was there only 22?
Okay. Well, let's just go with the obvious. Okay. So Choji, I think she's got
let's
Choji.
go in order. So starting with Sakura's number 1, because I think you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can see the screen.
I think
so I'm going to give her the benefit of, I think there are ways Sakura and Ino could, I think, and there's ways anyone could win, but I'm just going to give 10-10 the benefit of the doubt. She probably beat Sakura and Ino.
Okay, so instead of debating everyone for like an hour, just say nothing, and I'll go through and say I think she can or can't beat all 22 of these. I'll leave off the obvious 2 at the end here. So I think she can beat Sakura and Ino, so that's 2.
That's 2.
Hinata's arguable. I think it's pretty
I don't
close.
think she's beating Hinata. Hinata looks more impressive to me. But I think it's fair to say she's arguable. It's fair to say that.
Okay, so I'll just keep it at 2 for now because I don't know if she would beat Hinata. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I think again, Naruto's arguable. I think she could beat Naruto. I think it's like Kiba to where Kiba's stronger, but Naruto could pull out an unpredictable win. But I'll say just power scaling wise, I would put her above Naruto. Because again, this is like the sealed 9 tells Naruto after Force of Death when he's extremely exhausted and weak. Anyways, that's 3. Don't think she could beat Kiba. Yoroi's 4. Choji's 5.
No, that's Mizumi. And I'm saying no to Mizumi.
No to Mizumi.
Mizumi's beating her.
Yeah, Mizumi's beating her.
I'll give you Yoroi. I'm not giving you Mizumi.
Okay. So anyways, Choji's 4.
Yeah.
Not beating Shino. Not beating Zaku, but I think she's on the same level. I don't think she would beat Shikamaru, but Shikamaru is weird. He's not really strong. He's only smart. I think she would.
Yeah,
beat
but he's
Kin.
gonna outsmart her. Let's be real.
Yeah, so I think she would beat Keen. I think that's 6.
Kin's too hard. She can't because who does she fight? Shikamaru. How does he beat her? Outsmarting.
Yeah, but then you look at, regardless of that 1-on-1, you look at Keen and the Force of Death. I don't think she's that impressive. Anyways. Like she's the weakest of the team, anyways. And if I have her, obviously, if I have Tenten next to Zaku, then she's gonna be beating Keen because Zaku's
on your list, yeah. So you have 5. So far.
You're gonna hate this. I think she would beat this version of Sasuke, who's extremely.
No, I agree, bro. I have this version of Sasuke way lower than most people. He's one of the weakest.
Yeah. So that's I think 7, and then Yoroi's obviously.
No, I think
8.
that's 6. I think that's 6.
We might have disagreed somewhere. I don't know.
But I think I counted your. So okay. Sakura 1, Ino 2, Naruto 3, Choji 4, 5 is Keen, 6 is Sasuke. Yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, Hinata is a maybe. Kiba is a maybe.
Okay, but.
And
no, Mizumi's not a maybe. But I gave you Keen, so that evens out Hinata. Yeah. No, I gave you Naruto. That evens out Hinata. I gave you Naruto. You're at 6 for Sasuke.
Whatever. I still think Kiba's like a maybe.
No, Kiba's winning, bro. Bro's too fast. Bro actually was getting his speed hyped up like crazy.
Okay,
so no, I think he's just out.
Regardless of hype, hype isn't where they actually are.
Bro, just look at how Tenten runs around Tamari and look at how Kiba is running against Naruto. Kiba's faster.
You're really gonna blame an animator from the 90s?
Yes. Because you know what? The rest of the fight isn't even in the manga for comparison, so it's the only thing I've got.
Oh my god.
Yoroi gonna be 7 on your list because he lost to Sasuke.
What happened to this being my list? Why are you telling me what my list is?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me put that finger away.
Whatever. You get the idea. She's around the middle, if anything. Is this everyone?
She beat 7. That's the lower half. And that's including Naruto and
It's not
Yoroi and Sasuke, who you could
Chiba
argue shouldn't be included, which would put her
Shikamaru.
down to 4.
Or Zaku. So I feel like you're just excluding
Even
everyone
if
that's
you
a
include Zaku and Hinata, that's still the lower half. That's 9.
Okay, I'm gonna include everyone that you're not including. So 1, 2.
I just included them.
3. I'm just making sure. 3, 4, 5.
4.
I'll say 6, 7.
No, no, you stop.
Okay. 6 for Zaku, 6 for Zaku, 7 for Shikamaru, 8 for Keen, 9 for Sasuke, 10 for Yoroi. And that's it.
So you had to stretch that pretty hard to get her to 10.
Well, no, 10 that she's beating, which means that she's number 9
yes, I know.
of the 20.
That puts her barely in the upper half.
Yes,
I know.
which is what I said.
But you had to stretch your guns as hard as possible by including Zaku and Shikamaru and Kiba and Naruto and Neji just to make that happen.
I did not include Neji, okay? We cannot exaggerate that.
I didn't say Neji.
You did say
Kiba.
Neji.
What?
You said Neji.
I did not say Neji.
You did say I'm pulling it up on stream. You said
Go for
Neji.
it.
Okay.
No way I said and Shikamaru and Kiba and Naruto and Neji.
Boom! You did say Neji. Naruto and Neji.
Wait, I can't hear it.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
Why can't I hear it?
Because I'm not sharing my stupid sound. I'm gonna share my stupid sound. You can hear the stupid sound. Here. Okay. So listen to this.
Zaku and Shikamaru and Kiba and Naruto and Neji.
Exactly.
I meant Hinata. Oh, well, Hinata looks like Neji.
I don't think it's a stretch. At the very least, she's obviously beating Hinata if Hinata doesn't become fierce from Naruto. And to be fair...
I guess, yeah, if Hinata doesn't fight.
To be fair... Well, no. To be fair, if Neji just doesn't do his thing that he does before the fight, Naruto isn't yelling at her. Or if he does, I think it's probably going to be too late. Like, if Tenten and Hinata just get called down and neither of them say anything, and Hayate just starts the fight... Tenten's just gonna fight a scared, timid Hinata and probably just...
but there runs into a problem, though, is that a lot of the reason Hinata's scared in the first place is because it's Neji who got called down. Because, like, again, what did Kiba just get done saying? Oh, you can fight as long as it's not Gaara or Neji. And it's one of those two. She's get called... She already knows not only how strong Neji is, but who Neji is, what he's supposed to say to her and all that shit. That's 100% mega amplifying her timidness. If Hinata's fighting, because Hinata wasn't scared in the Forest of Death. She wasn't scared to do anything.
Well, but she also...
So it's like if she's... I mean, Gaara, but if she's fighting Tenten, I don't think she's going to be that scared.
She wasn't fighting alone in the Forest of Death. And to be fair, Tenten is Neji's butt buddy. So, regardless of how Hinata views Tenten... Well, okay. At the very least, I think that Hinata would have pretty high... I don't know, esteem credit for Tenten, considering she's not only on Neji's team, but she's like a year advanced, and she is wanting to be the number 1 Kunoichi. She's trying to make a name for herself.
But she might just be going into it with her, like, I want to prove myself mindset. I'm not saying it's going to be as fierce as when Naruto yelled for her, but I don't think she's going to be timid, shy, scared. I think she's going to go into it like, I'm going to prove myself.
I think it's going to be similar, based on what you're describing. I think it's thematically similar to Sakura versus Ino. Except Sakura is the character to sort of do her confident thing, like, more so on her own. That was sort of Sakura's whole thing. Hinata, I understand what Kurenai says, that, oh, she's really grown into herself because of her training, where she's making her palms bloody, punching the thing 1 billion times. Yeah, but I feel like that's going to be at least less so here.
That's what I'm saying. It won't be as fierce as when Naruto cheers her on, unless Naruto just does cheer her on
I
at
think
some
it'd be
point in this fight.
less
But
than Sakura and Ino. Because Sakura at first was also a little bit timid. It wasn't until afterwards.
yes, I agree. But my point is, well, Hinata's just stronger than Sakura anyway. But so she could do better than Sakura regardless.
Yeah.
But I think
Well,
she's
Tenten's stronger than
the
Ino.
question is how much. So I think Hinata is stronger than peak fierce Hinata is stronger than Tenten, in my opinion. So the question is, how much can you take away while Hinata's still winning? And that's just a gray area. Who knows?
Well, some of the thing here is that Ino didn't want to beat Sakura until she was trying because of their pre-established bond. Obviously, Tenten doesn't have that with Hinata. Tenten's just going for the win from the get-go.
Yeah, she's just going in. But still, again, though, how much can Hinata get away with? And then also, how much will Hinata, hypothetically, Hinata's losing at first, how much will Hinata ramp up? You know, there's too many factors that make that hard to say in that sense.
I don't think she's going to have time to ramp up. See, you haven't seen.
The problem is, I don't think Tenten's going to be able to just one-shot. Because even as it is, Tenten's ultimate move she uses versus Tamari, Guy was surprised she was even doing it because Tenten had no choice. But she's not going straight to the billion kunai throw thing anyway. She's just going to do her one kunai at a time start. And you know who's going to dodge that shit? Hinata. Because she's faster than a snail.
You are so underestimating Tenten. It is insane.
Bro, I'm sorry, bro. Watch the fight with Tamari. It's not making her look good.
Watch
any Tenten fight. It's not making her look good. Watch Shippuden Tenten fight Shippuden Tenten, and it's not making her look good.
Okay, as if everyone doesn't have a slow run from time to time. You really think that's Tenten's max speed? Come on, as if Tenten was even trying.
It's the fastest we ever see her run.
I don't think that's even true.
It's probably not, but like
the fact that she's keeping up with her squad everywhere else in the series where all three of them are moving together tells me she's as fast as everyone.
Well, they're just not trying. They're slowing down for Tenten's sake.
Oh my god. Well, if anything, I do think Tenten has the same narrative idea that Hinata has going into this fight, that she wants to prove herself anyways. But I think she just has that more than Tenten. She's closer to Sakura than she is Hinata.
I mean, why are you even saying that? Okay, besides any later, I don't know, episode 220 flashback random Tenten episode, what in the Chunin exams gives you the impression that Tenten has a character arc in the first place?
Lee's backstory, we see what Guy asks Team Guy. What do you want to do?
Oh yeah, she wants to be like Tsunade.
Yeah.
Does she even say that in the original version?
The anime is the original version. I don't care what you say.
I was just wondering. I don't know, but regardless, we don't even know who Tsunade is or any. I mean, she just says, "Okay, I want to be like."
Tenten does.
It's not telling you a whole lot. It's not telling you anything.
Oh,
what if Tsunade was weak?
Retrospectively. Well, no, I'm pretty sure that she says the number one Kunoichi like Tsunade, or that she wants to surpass Tsunade, who is the number one Kunoichi. The point is she wants to be number one.
I don't know. I have to. I'm not going to confidently say what she says in the first version of this.
Obviously. And I think the fact that Lee's on the team
filler,
and how Neji's treating Lee versus Tenten, it's implied to me that Tenten isn't a failure and that she isn't just all bark, no bite. She isn't just saying things like Naruto and Lee.
This is a knock on Neji in the first place to an extent, but like the reason he's saying is because Lee can't use ninjutsu again jutsu. Tenten can, but the fact is, Neji is as strong as he is. He only uses taijutsu, so Neji knows that you can get strong with just taijutsu, and Lee is just blatantly stronger than Tenten, and Neji knows this.
I mean, Tenten's not only confident, but just the way Neji's demeanor is tells me that he views Tenten as a valuable part of the team and that Tenten isn't holding him back or anything.
Yeah, but he doesn't think Lee's that anyway, because when they're talking about Lee not making it back in the Force of Death, like, Neji has expectations for Lee to, like, not get dead or anything. He doesn't think Lee's weak. He just thinks
dead.
Lee's a failure, even though he's strong. Like, Neji knows that Lee can just body most of the exam participants. He just thinks he's a failure because he can't do ninjutsu and genjutsu.
Sure.
He can't beat Neji.
But Destiny is Neji's whole thing. Neji would be the character of all characters to call people out on this stuff. Like, he's calling Lee out on stuff all the time. If, like, in this scene, when Tintin's talking about Tsunade, she wants to be number one, why isn't Neji stopping her to say Destiny this, Destiny that? I think Neji thinks she can do it, based on what he's seen from her.
What if he just doesn't know who Tsunade is?
No, this isn't Neji. He knows who Tsunade is.
I mean, nobody else knew who Tsunade was.
Oh, God. Well, Neji's a genius.
How does Tenten even know who Tsunade is?
Probably taught it in the academy. You know who else was in the academy?
Well, then why does nobody else know who Tsunade is? Weren't they all in the academy? They only taught it in Neji's class.
Dropped from the curriculum.
The next year. Dropped.
Well, who are you referring to that doesn't know? Because Naruto doesn't know what chakra is. It's filler. I don't care.
I mean, like, Sasuke didn't know. Nobody knew who Tsunade was, really.
Did
Rock Lee
Sasuke
didn't
not know?
Yeah, actually, yeah, Lee didn't even know who Tsunade was.
When does Sasuke not know who Tsunade is?
I think it is like a scene where he just doesn't know who she. I don't know. I don't remember the specifics, but
Because
like,
keep in mind, she's passed out before they even mention Tsunade, so it would have to be after he wakes up, which it just is Sasuke retrieval arc at that point. He's not talking about
but
Tsunade.
yeah, but it doesn't mean he knew who Tsunade was.
If he has any line about Tsunade, it's the fact that he was passed out for so long that, oh my god, we got a new Hokage? What? Oh, and it's Tsunade. It's gonna be something like that. You can imagine.
I mean, either way, I got a better argument anyway. What is Sakura known for in the academy? Perfect grades, knowing all the curriculum, memorizing all the books, every single curriculum, academic related thing. You know who didn't know who Tsunade was? Sakura. Explain that to me.
What scene are you talking about? Because I don't remember.
Dude, I don't remember the specific scene. It might be anime only too, but I'm pretty confident there's a thing where she just doesn't know who Tsunade is.
Okay.
Before being told it.
My headcanon is that she was pretending to sympathize with Naruto.
What if Naruto wasn't in that scene?
She was practicing.
Stupid, but I love it. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
You know, while we're at it, should we just try and rank these, or do you think that's gonna take too long?
We've already done that.
Okay.
So one more thing. So okay, before we move on from Tintin, I want to add that even if Naruto starts screaming at her mid-match, I think that's too late. To where either she's not going to be able to focus on Naruto because Tintin's not going to let up, or she's going to focus on Naruto too much and be like, Naruto, and she's just going to get distracted and just slit in the throat with a kunai or something. Not literally, but you know what I mean. She's going to lose based on that. So it's, in my opinion, it's going to, and I think you might like this thematically, this would parallel Obito losing to Guy with Rin watching.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a separate 10-10 question.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can give more than one arc in like a tiered way, like the most important, second most, and so on. I think everyone can agree Tenten could have been used more than she was. That's not to say that she needed to. She didn't. She didn't really have a purpose in the first place. But if you were going to give an arc where Tenten is gonna be more important, both plot and narrative-wise, as an example, I'm not saying this is your answer, but as an example, if she was just on the Sasuke retrieval mission, either as an additional person that's just an extra sound member, or she replaces Kiba or something, it's a hypothetical. The point is, what arc or arcs would you make Tenten more important in? And after answering that, what are some ideas you have?
So, to clarify, just to make sure, we aren't counting filler. Just to clarify.
Yeah, I want it to be like a main story arc.
Okay. So I think I've actually talked about this in the past. In fact, you could probably just guess my answer. But part 1 is where she's talking about all this Tsunade stuff anyways, and every other side character is dropped in Shippuden anyways, and then the Search for Tsunade arc is the least talked about arc anyways. This would be where it would just fit the best. Just include her here. Especially if Naruto's learning the Rasengan. I mean, she would just be in the same town, or she's looking for Tsunade as well. It just, however you want to write it, she's
how they find Tsunade.
She's not gonna work too, yeah. I mean, unironically,
but I think she should do more than that, though. Like something narratively impactful.
So
though.
okay,
like not just
okay. Yeah. This is crazy, but okay. Ignoring the fact of the Kabuto fight, what if Tintin just entirely replaces Shizune? Thoughts? Yeah.
She could still be Don's like nephew or niece or whatever, and that's fine.
Yeah. No one even knows Shizune is that, anyways. I forgot. So.
You know, low key.
Cool.
I mean, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I mean, there's certain aspects that are problematic. One is, I mean, it's kind of nice just having Shizune there in the Search for Tsunade already. Tsunade's age.